What does 2 do for us? 2 indeed brings, now don't let this confuse you, can bring unity, but also represents division, or that which can be divided. As 1 excludes all differences, 2 affirms the difference. For now we have comparison. Now we have comparison. Incidentally, let me pause and go back to 1 or echad. We're talking about comparisons. For in Judaism, or moreover in the Shema, as we know it from, Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 4, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. Shema Israel, Adonai, Eloheinu Adonai, Echad. Hear, O Israel, our God is a God of compound unity. Intriguing, as we understand that part of the text. But he is not number 2. For, again, as 1 excludes all differences, 2 affirms a difference. So once more, number 2 is that which, first of all, brings to us division, but can also bring to us union. For now, as we said back there in Genesis chapter 2 and verse 24, and the 2 shall be united or unioned in echad. As I said earlier, face to face with a shared vision. I find that intriguing. We'd like to then proceed to number 3. What is significant about number 3? And this can get off into certain areas or different areas in terms of even, is it into the geometrics of things? But what is significant about number 3? 4. 3 comes to us or brings to us a new phenomenon. As I said already about geometrics, it's for, if I understand right, it is the first geometrical figure. 4. 2 lines, as we might see on the board. Two lines do not enclose any space. It's not until you would have a third line, moreover, to develop a triangle. 3 lines. Now we have enclosed a space. We have brought to us a dimension in a sense. So, you need the third line to bring dimension. Or the third is that which brings the needed form of solid. For example, you have length and you have breadth, but it's not until you have depth that you have the symbol of the cube. And growing up on the farm, I remember out in the barn, in the milking parlor, or in the we had like a stanchion barn, and we had the old one-legged stool. Would not stand on its own. Even a 2-legged stool would not stand on its own. But as soon as we had the 3-legged stool, it could then stand on its own. Interesting in terms of the concept of 3. Therefore, 3 thus stands for that which is solid, stands for that which is real, stands for that which is substantial, stands for that which is complete and entire. Now, by way of observation, I find it interesting as well that, isn't it the case? There are 3 attributes of God. His omniscience, His omnipresence, and His omnipotence. When we bring it and we begin to discuss time, 3 aspects of time: the past, the present, and the future. And I think, is it such that grammatically, if we're dealing in sentence structure, in terms of the human capability, we're talking about thought, word, and deed. Again, that which comes to us from the significance, number 3. We'd like to then proceed forward and take a look at the number 4. What is significant about the number 4? Number 4 often biblically, I think, as I understand, refers to the earth or to the world or to this cosmos of sorts. And this is also interesting, again, by observation. For within the world we have the elements, which are 1, earth, 2, air, fire, and water. Those 4 elements relative to the earth. Giving consideration to regions, we have north and south and east and west. And again, biblically, as you read through, I think, much of the text, and you find the number 4 has reference to the earth or to the world or, to this order. Also, perhaps the divisions of the day. We have morning, we have noon, we have evening and night. Again, divisions of the day when it comes to the number 4. And now, I know this study is kind of skimming the surface of sorts, and indeed is only an introduction. There's much more that can be developed on each of these points, but I'm only going to give a sort of an introductory as I proceed forward. And that is, that you can take many of these numbers and make divisions, or you can couple them together and kind of see sort of a pattern taking place as we walk through and as we observe from Scripture things that are taking place. Would like to continue on now and pick up number 5. What is significant about the number 5? And again, as we observe it from the text of Scripture. That being that the number 5 often is significant of grace, or that of a shown favor. Now, there's another study which is all its own, and that is you're taking like dimensions and type and antitype and figure, and so when it comes to the study of the tabernacle. Not sure exactly how well this is going to come through, but I find it interesting that with a, can we say, a very skeletal structure of the tabernacle. I'm talking about the outside hanging curtains, and of course the Holy of Holies in here, and then you have the laver, and you have then the brazen altar, which, by the way, had 4 sides. Had 4 sides. And it's interesting that now the hangings or the entrance into the tabernacle had 4 openings. 4 hanging curtains through which the people would move into, in essence, into the presence of God. And to do so, had to have 5 pillars to create the 4 openings. Again, we're talking now somewhat about type and typology. So with type, the world, or as we would enter into God's presence, we do so, the world, the 4 entrances, the 4 openings, but we pass through 5 pillars, which again are indicative of the grace. So in other words, sort of entering into the presence of God, we come so by His grace, or through grace, into the presence, and we come to the altar, the 4 sides of the altar, again, which represent the world, the earth, the world, the order, coming in through the idea of the 4 sides. Again, I think there's some more things which are, at least to me, fascinating when it comes to the numbers relative to the application of the tabernacle. For example, I think it is that this dimension, which goes across the openings, is, and check this out if you like, I think it's like 20 cubits, and the whole end dimension is like 50 cubits. 20, this is for later study, when we get up to the number 20. 20, I think, is that of redemption. So again, you can see that the world comes through grace into the presence of God, and that number there having to do with redemption.